Welcome everybody, you're watching Mr. Fugu Data Science. Feel free to hit me up on my socials right here as usual. Today we're doing an uninstall of Postgres for Mac. This is without Homebrew. This motivation came because a few months ago I decided to remove Homebrew. As a consequence, it removed Postgres, and this stemmed from a few issues. One, version control. Two, some of my newer software, I was having issues with compatibility of Homebrew, therefore I decided to delete it. That's the short story. In essence, I lost a few bits of software and lingering files are still visible and causing me issues doing a reinstall of Postgres. I tried a third-party application and the application version. The application version worked pretty good. Unfortunately, I was unable to get into my password because all my old credentials were there and I didn't remember them. And it was easier for me to delete and start over than to do other avenues of getting that information and changing it at the source. If you're going to go about this, make sure you back up and store your information for your databases, please. I'm not responsible if you lose all your information. I gave you the warning. A few reasons you may want to go about this. One, if you have a version you want to roll back to, you want to delete a version, you want to delete everything, we can go in the terminal. I can't do this because I don't have Postgres right now, but run this command, put it in your terminal, it should give you your version number. Postgres -v. That'll give you the version number. An alternate version that you can do that'll give you an address, locate bin/Postgres. That should give you something like this. And if you notice this right here, that's a version number, for example. If you know by chance that you may have various installations, you could run the local bin/Postgres or PSQL in the terminal. It should show you various versions you may have. In general, you'll have three main areas Postgres is installing in. You have the library folder, you have your applications, and you also have the users and groups. The applications will deal with your GUI section. This will deal with your user information, and this is a bunch of the files that are just getting installed to help the stuff run. When you go in the terminal and you run these commands, a couple things to note. One, make sure you put your correct version number here, and if you're running this and uninstalling the app version, sometimes you'll need to change it to this. Just drop the Q and L if this command doesn't work for you. I'm not sure how you did the installation on your machine, but for instance, you could just copy this or input it into the terminal and run it. The next thing I tried to do is run the same thing without a version number. I'm not sure if this does anything or not because it's not specifying a version, but that's not the biggest concern yet. If you did a different installation like enterprise version or anything that was different from the application version through an installer, you can run this command here. Just remember that 13.11, change that for whatever version you're running. If you get a hiccup, try to drop this Q and the L and see if that works for you. But if it works, you'll get a prompt for your password. And after you run these commands, you could try to CD into this in the terminal and see if this gives you some output. After you run these commands, you're going to then go through and remove local files and folders. For instance, this INI file is a credentials file. We made some of those in one of the prior videos I made a long time ago. But in essence, you want to remove that folder where that file is stored. And then you want to remove the folder containing the Postgres information. And lastly, you want to get into that information where it's storing the local variables of Postgres. You want to run these three commands as well. The next thing you want to do is click that Apple icon, go into System Preferences, and then from there, go into the users and groups. And if you see the Postgres one, just delete that as well. So you do this, go into System Preferences, Users and Groups, and if it's in here, you delete it. I already deleted mine, and you have to unlock this to grab it. The next thing you may be interested in, freeing up that shared memory. I've read about this. I'm not sure if this is necessary, and you may not even have this on your machine. You could look first before you start trying to remove it. I left some documentation if you want to read and understand what's going on. As I said before, since the fact that I had Homebrew before, and I did some uninstall, there's some things that I needed to mention. First, I'm going to go into the terminal. I'm going to show you after this. These are the three commands that I showed you prior in the terminal, just in case for different information you want to resolve. When you uninstall Homebrew, don't think that it actually removed everything, and let me show you why. Today when I looked at the user local variable, I found that Homebrew was still there, and I removed that thing and got rid of it, which makes me wonder what else is lingering around in my machine now. But after I got rid of it, I noticed that I should be all right to do a fresh install now, because I essentially took care of any of the files else that I needed to deal with. But that'll be the end of this video. But please like, share, and subscribe. And if you subscribe, turn that notification bell. Feel free to hit me up right here on all my socials. Thanks for all the feedback over time. If you'd like to help support the channel, consider buy me a coffee, super thanks, or channel memberships. See you in the next video. Bye.